Hey everybody, welcome to practice. My name is Brentan and today we're going to do a 30-minute total body flow for strength, mobility, stability, all of the best stuff ever. So when you're ready, go ahead and join me on your mat. I'll suggest we get started on all fours in a tabletop position, but of course if you'd rather to kind of sit back and roll out your wrists, do some wrist stretches first, kind of listen to yourself, move with your own freedom. And that the freedom will really just be like kind of an ongoing theme. And so as you're sort of here on all fours, you can feel free to move around any way that feels constructive for you, just to start to breathe a little bit deeper, kind of start paying attention to all of your bodily sensations. You can move around in your shoulders and your hips and your spine. And when you feel like you're okay to come back towards downward facing dog, we can shift up and back towards that. Again, a little bit of free movement here, kind of moving around. Hopefully the wrists feel okay bearing some weight here. We really want to get strong through the fingers, strong through the palms, so that the wrists don't feel like they're sort of slamming down into the ground. And I would say that in general for the whole body, like, you know, right here, you can really use the floor to kind of get some passive range and just kind of shove your bones into certain situations. But how can you move around here and sort of allocate some job, some responsibility to muscles in the hands, muscles in the arms, muscles that go in around the shoulder blades? So you even feel like you're hugged in from the outer armpits. As you feel ready, let's see, can we shift the weight forward towards plank position, top of a push-up here? Or you can just kind of shift the weight forward and backward in an attempt to feel the arms, the shoulder blades. And then shifting the weight all the way up and back, downward facing dog. Okay, how do your wrists feel? Let's see, do you have two more of those? Shifting forward plank, just playing the field, seeing how it feels. And going back, downward facing. Last time. And downward facing. And then getting off our sweet little hands here. You can push off the hands one at a time, walking them all the way back to the feet there, bending over the legs at the back of the mat. Here it's, you can sort of, you know, whatever feels like the right thing to do, you can move or be still. If the floor seems really far away, you can perch yourself up on your legs like so. Really let go through your facial muscles, soft, easy breathing in and out through the nose. And then from here, grounding down through the feet, can we slow motion roll the spine all the way on up? When we reach ourselves all the way up, kind of shake out through the legs a little bit here. Give yourself a little time to adjust to the upright position. Can roll your pelvis forward, backward until you can find neutral. Can roll your ribs up and down until you find neutral. Head in neutral. And then we can breathe and reach the arms all the way out to the sky. And on the exhale, we can forward fold over the legs. On the inhale breath, we can lengthen forward out of the pelvis towards that halfway lift. My friends, we're all going to be different heights here. It really depends on how much mobility, stability we have in the hips, the legs, the spine. The point is neutral from tailbone to crown. And that includes a nice open chest. That includes active abdomen, strong legs, and breathing out, forward fold. However you like to come up to stand, rolling or kind of reverse swan diving, your choice. Reach up and hands down in front of the chest. At the same time, bend your knees, chair pose. Flex your ankles by taking your shins forward. Flex your knees by taking your thighs down. Flex your hips by taking your pelvis back and down on a diag. Bounce here a little bit. And release, forward fold. Walk yourself back forward, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, shift the weight forward, plank, top of a push-up. We can choose to hold this. I'm gonna opt, if we wanna continue and move the knees down to the ground. So your pelvis is forward, okay? Because if your pelvis is back over your knees, it's not gonna feel right here. So we wanna just feel the whole body. Can you feel the shoulder blades, the arms as they go into the shoulders? Can you feel your ribs? And here, elbows bend back any amount, an inch or more, and push into your hands and come back up. Okay, we're trying to be nice and stable. We got 3 of these, down and up. Last one, let's come all the way down to the belly. Intermission time here is for you to just kind of release, relax, anything that feels good. This can feel really confusing with the front of the body on the floor like this. So we want the front of the body to feel very compact, very drawn in, very neutral, anatomically neutral, where right now it probably feels a little bit more sprawled out and sort of like pushing into the floor. So the way that we get what we want is we squeeze the legs into the hips. We turn the glutes on to take the tailbone down, and on the same time we package the front of the pelvis toward the back of the pelvis. You should feel sort of plugged in now, that lower part. Take your attention now to the front of your ribs and package them towards your spine. And now you should feel sort of plugged in on like the whole plate of abdominals on the front of the body. From here, we can see if we can lift the package of the legs up off the ground without disturbing the pelvis. So the glutes need to work a little bit harder. Front abdomen needs to be a little bit more significant in how it's drawing towards the back. Keep the front ribs drawing to the back ribs here. Maybe we float the hands together behind the head, and you can take any dynamic movement that you might like, up and down. Now, if you start to feel like weird compression, pinching in the low back, it means we have more of a job to do integrating the front of the body into the back of the body, specifically the pelvis. So just kind of move around here any way that feels good. The goal is to turn on all the muscles on the back side of the body, the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes, everything along the spine. As you feel ready, release, relax, take a little break. Just kind of see like how successful were you in keeping that low back feeling really supported, really good. We always have more opportunities, so it's all good. We're going to see if we can extend the upper spine a little bit more, but we're going to have to keep some of that work that we just did here. If you're okay, tenting your fingers outside of the mat, building a little strength through the hands here. Roll the elbows up, roll your shoulders away from the ground, but keep your front body compact to the back body like we just did. Alrighty, from here, we're just going to press down through the finger pads and start to float the chest off the ground any amount. Now, if you do that and the low back starts to grab, you know that you have more foundational work to do, right? So you're just trying to go up and down to your own capacity, to the extent to which the pelvis can still be nice and integrated, the front of the body can be nice and integrated. You can even start to feel like, oh, I want to keep my shoulders in like one clean relationship with my torso. Okay, my friends, let's go ahead and move back to downward facing dog any way you'd like. If you don't know how you'd like to do it, maybe take your hands in. See, can you press up to your knees? Tuck the toes under, lift up and back towards downward facing dog. Here's where you're gonna get to see how that low back feels in response to what we just did. So flexion of the hips here, that means tailbone's kind of going up and back to the on a diag here, so we're not trying to scoop the tailbone underneath. So keeping the pelvis in that position, we're gonna add some load here by just lifting the right heel towards the right bottom. If this is too much in down dog, you can do it in table as well. But we'll just lift and lower. And we're gonna try not to disturb the pelvis. We're gonna try not to disturb the left side, the arms, the shoulders, get everyone working, everyone's involved. And then you can keep working like that, or this next time you can keep the heel in towards the bottom and now play with extending the leg back and bringing the leg in. But again, not disturbing the pelvis, not disturbing the rest of the body. Okay, go ahead, bring that back down. Take a break if you'd like. Otherwise, let's go right to the second side. Left foot lifting and lowering. Easy in the face, easy in the breathing. After this last one, if you'd like, you can start stretching the leg back and bringing it in. See all those different variations, like my shoulders want to rotate in some weird ways. I can feel my pelvis wanting to move there. Okay, let's go ahead, bring it back down, push off the hands one at a time, walk them all the way back to the feet. We did it, everybody. Forward fold. On the inhale breath, lengthen forward out from the pelvis. Only if you like, you can skip that part too. And then exhale, forward fold. As you feel ready, come all the way up to stand, reach up. And hands down. Okay, let's do some duck walks. So let's go ahead, take the feet a little bit wider than the hips, turn the toes out, sort of like your malasana yogi squat, but we're just gonna try to come down towards like parallel in the thighs, which I realize is much lower than I'm actually going right now, so like parallel in the thighs, okay. All right, we got flexed ankles, flexed knees, flexed hips. We want from pelvis out to the crown, nice and neutral. Duck walks means, can I keep pelvis to crown neutral? It's gonna shift in space, but I want that relationship to be neutral as we start to walk forward. Come to the very top of the mat, and then walk back. Once you get to the very back of the mat, press down, come all the way up, shake it out. How'd you do? Sort of like high squat, low chair, walking forward, picking up our heart rate. So we have the option, we can do that again. We could also do more like frog hops if you feel like you want to bear a little bit more weight in the arms. So starter position will be about the same. So we do it again, we either go forward and backward, or if you want your little froggy hops, you would take your hands down to the floor, a little bit forward, hop forward, trying to get the pelvis up. And maybe it's like 3 or 4 forward. And then of course it's 3 or 4 back. As you feel ready, as you make your way all the way back, come all the way up. Maybe take a few big, deep exhales, whatever feels right? Now we're at the very back of the mat. Here we go. Let's reach all the way on up. On the exhale, we can forward fold. On the inhale, we can lengthen forward out from the pelvis. And on the exhale, we can fold. We can walk ourselves all the way forward towards downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, we can shift the weight forward to plank. We can hold a plank. We can hold a knees down plank. And however you'd like to make your way all the way down to the floor. Big pile of mush, couple push-ups. Just like one shot all the way down. Come all the way down. Release, relax. Let's see if we can draw the elbows underneath the shoulders. And I mean like underneath them, because I feel like the more far forward they go, the more we tend to like internally rotate the shoulder and kind of wrap it forward. So if we get the elbows back, we can feel the arms spinning more externally away from the chest. So the chest starts to move through. And we want to feel ourselves connected from tailbone all the way out through the crown. So the spine has to feel like, you know, if one piece moves, everything else is sort of affected. Now breathing in here, on the exhale, curl everything in, round the pelvis off the ground, round your back like a roly-poly, front pelvis in. Slowly roll yourself back down and forward, stretch forward, Sphinx pose. And exhale, slink your way in. One more time. Hold. Okay, we can walk the knees forward under the frame of the body one at a time. Whew. Come all the way up to a high kneeling position. If you like some extra cushion, I'm going to take it now with the mat, blanket, you know, whatever. Knees down underneath the pelvis. What am I going to do? I'm going to do tops of the feet down now. You kind of figure this out. I'm going to look back and be deliberate about how the toes are spreading open and how the foot is opening to the sky. And then I'm going to assume that I'm not as lifted over the knees as I could be. You know, I'm going to assume I'm more back here, right? So get the pelvis over the knees and then spread out through your toes and press them down. And here we're going to work with loading the quadriceps in a lengthened position. Very challenging. So press down, draw your legs up, try to feel your pelvis evenly set. Your pelvis is your underwear crease in, okay? So kind of figure that out. Underwear crease in, is that evenly set between my two legs? And then from here, let's play with like first shoulder flexion. Can I lift my arms overhead without disturbing any of this? And can I lift the arms back down? And so just play with that a couple of times, just trying to maintain that high kneeling position. There's actually a lot of work happening there. Hope you can feel. And then bringing the arms back down here, maybe just onto the pelvis here. This will help us feel if there's any changes. I'm not trying to bend any place in my spine or my pelvis. I'm just trying to lean back at the knee joint any amount. Lengthen, load my lengthened quads, and then press down to the shins to come up. So let's see if we can do that 2 more times. Keep pressing down through the shins the whole time. 1 more time. Great job, my friends. Press down, reach the arms all the way up. Reach them up. See if you can feel your shoulder blades come down, like your shoulder blades are pulling down, and it's actually going to pull the head of your arm bone down a little bit and then go up. And just do that a couple of times. So mobilizing the shoulder blades, try to keep your elbows really straight by the sides, and lift your chest. Okay, bring your chest back to upright. Stretch your arms back up. Shoulder flexion. Lift up through the shoulder blades. Now start this action with the shoulder blades first. Squeeze your shoulder blades down and together. Then build fists. Bend your elbows. Draw your elbows down by your side. At the same time, lift your chest up. Okay, coming back up to center 1 more time. Can you feel a little bit of that? Bring your arms up. Feel your shoulder blades wing up with your arms. Now see, can you take shoulder blades down and together first? Keep your elbows straight for now. Shoulder blades down together. Then bend your elbows. Bring your elbows by your sides. At the same time, lift your chest up. Okay, come on up out of this. Come into an easy seated position. Anything that works for you works for me. Let's go ahead, come all the way back towards downward facing dog here. And before we wrap up, let's go ahead, bring the feet forward, maybe just to the center of the mat. Come all the way up to stand in your favorite way. We'll meet with arms down. We can turn to face the long edge of the mat. We can have the pelvis remain upright, not folded forward, but upright in the body. As we step the feet wide, we abduct the hips. Keep the pelvis totally upright here. Make sure you can bend both knees so you're not sort of like getting into a position that you can't manage with your own strength. And then we'll just see, can I go down to one side to the next? Use your feet to push yourself over from right to left. If you want here, you can even turn the feet out so you're more towards external rotation. If you have your hands on your legs for support, it's going to be a little bit easier than if you lift your hands. And if you need more, consider bigger ranges of motion. Maybe going all the way over. Maybe all the way over and more. Maybe all the way over and more. And feel that quadriceps support you, sort of like we just felt, right? All the way over and more. All the way over and more. Coming back through center. Let's go ahead, come up, keep your pelvis straight, and see if you got a couple of those, like up and down, any amount. It doesn't need to be the full range of motion. Then turning the legs in, pelvis upright, and then you decide how you bring the legs together. Either you heel toe or you hop, whatever works. Let's go ahead, turn to the front of the mat. Taking the legs underneath the body. Let's come towards a chair pose. In the chair pose, maybe we lengthen the arms forward. Maybe we reach the arms back, sort of like floating the arms back, and we can kind of like move a little in and out of there, load our legs. And this time as we fold, we can take the heels up, we can take the bottom down, we can sit down onto our bottom. And really anything that feels good here. Maybe if we butterfly the knees open, we can sort of wave them out a little bit. And you can sort of decide from here, like what feels best. Does it feel best to walk yourself back and work on mobilizing your pelvis, for example, by trying to go rocking it forward and backward? So if you feel like you can't do that, for example, that's the next step. But once you feel like you have some of that range, then, pardon me, you'll come up and you may even just stay here, or you may forward fold. Coming all the way up here, let's find a place where we can sit, whether that's on the floor or in a chair. We do want to feel the legs kind of hug into the pelvis, so the pelvis is supported in an upright position. So then the ribs can be in an upright position, the head can be behind that. And we can just sort of take our arms into goal post. Imagine you could even go sit with a wall and try to, with keeping your front ribs in neutral, peel everything back to the wall, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, the back of your head. And just kind of snow angeling the arms up and down. If you're using the wall, try to maintain contact. If you're not using the wall, then imagine that there is a wall there and that you're responsible for maintaining that contact. And then maybe as the elbows go wide, we take the hands behind the head. We lift up through the torso, active range of motion right here in our ribs as we turn the chest to one side. Try not to move from your shoulders. Try not to move from your pelvis. Just move through the ribs, chest nice and open, head back. Like a little washcloth. Do you have another little rinse or two? And then come back through center. Let's go to the other side. Also kind of check in, hip bone to armpit. That should be pretty even distance on both sides of the torso. And coming all the way back through center, release the arms here. Let's go ahead and take the feet down in front of us. Okay, bent legs is gonna be less load. Straight legs is gonna be more load, so you figure out what's gonna be okay for you. We're probably all gonna wanna lean back here. Lean back, try to get yourself as lifted out from the torso as possible. And again, you decide bent legs or straight legs.
If you're straight, point the toes and see if we can lift. Okay, and so remember, you can do this, right? And try to get your pelvis to remain upright. So we're moving right here at this joint. Active hip flexion. Here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, shake it out. All right, go ahead. Let's roll all the way down. Take the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Maybe you even grab elbows overhead if that feels good. You can windshield wiper the knees, left, right. If you want to pause on one side, you can pause. And if you paused, maybe coming over to the other side as well. Drawing the legs back up through center. Maybe we can rest an active rest today for the hips. So taking the knees in on each other, feet a little bit wider. Just try to find a place where the pelvis feels good, the low back feels good. You may need to shift and adjust, you know. Find a position for the arms to rest. And we'll end our practice here with just a few moments of being quiet, speaking to our nervous system, trying to assure our nervous system that we're safe. We can communicate that with our nervous system through how we're breathing, how we choose to lay our body. You know, check in with your sense organs, like your eyes. Is there any way you can control your eyes or hold your eyes so that your nervous system might feel safer? Same thing with your ears, like how you receive sound. Same thing with your skin, like, you know, how you would receive touch right now. Like if your eyes are closed and someone came over you and just sort of like brushed your knee or something like that. Like how might you receive that in a way that would communicate to your nervous system that you are safe? Alrighty, my friends, this is where I'll leave us. But of course, if you have a couple of extra minutes, keep feeding your nervous system this information. Good for you, man. And it's been such a pleasure being with you today. I hope your body works and feels better as a result of what we did here. And of course, I just want to thank our lovely patrons on Patreon. If you feel inspired and would like to donate to this work, I'll leave a link to our Patreon in the description below. So that's all for me today, folks. I'll see you here next time. Have a great day.